Greetings and welcome to In-Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. The Housing Development Corporation is upping its game in an effort to serve better. And Divisional Manager Corporate Services, Jeremy Campbell, he joins us to discuss the online housing application fulfillment system portal. Welcome, Mr. Campbell. How are you doing? Checking to see whether or not we can hear each other.
I can hear you. Thanks.
Yes, great.
Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. But if the online housing application fulfillment system portal is a solution, what was the gap or problem that was seen?
So there wasn't so much of a problem. We just wanted to transition with the way in which the world is going due to the COVID pandemic. Most companies internationally and locally are trying to be more technology savvy. So what we were trying to do is to get customers to have a way in which they can interface with the agency a bit better than before. So the gap really was a lot of customers are trying to find out where they are in the allocation process, and we wanted to bridge that gap by bringing the customers closer to us by having this online portal.
And what are some of the things that are what went into the update of this system? So like what were some of the things needed to say, okay, well, these are the steps that we need to go from point A to point B?
Right, so it was a very rigorous process. As the public may know, there's over 190-something thousand persons that applied to agency housing. So we had to have a collaborative approach between the agency's IT team and the Ministry of Housing IT's team. So we had to look at the database, look at the portals, see how we could link the agency website to the online application system. So there was a lot of groundwork that had to be covered in a short period of time to have this launch done.
And what are some of the things, what are some of the biggest differences? Because I can imagine someone asking, okay, well, now there's a different system in place. What does that do to my application that I have in train since X amount of months or years? Does that shift it up in the bag a little bit? Am I to be nervous about that? Speak to that person.
Okay, so that's an excellent question. So no, you are not behind. You're not behind the line. There's no reason to panic. What we are trying to do is just make the experience a bit easier. So persons who would have historically come to the HDC to find out their status, they can now go online to find out their status. If you wanted to add a co-applicant, you had to historically come to the HDC with the documentation that had to be sent to the ministry. Now, all these things can be done via either your phone or via your tablet or the laptop. But it doesn't move the person from point A to point B. It just allows the customer to see exactly where they are in the application process.
All right, and with that in mind, I think it's a good opportunity to say, okay, well, these are the exact or the specific things that this system now does. So the person can see where they are. It's almost as though you sent a package and you're able to track it now. You're able to see the status of your application. But is that the only thing? Are there other things? And where do people go to get this in terms of the platform, the URL? Take us through that nitty-gritty, thanks.
Okay, sure. So the website is www.hdc.gov.tt. Once you click on that website, you will see a button called Apply. You click Apply, it then takes you to the ministry's portal because the ministry is who is responsible for the HAFS database. They are responsible for issuing your reference number. AGC is just an agency that works with the ministry. So once you click Apply, all right, it takes you to the portal. You will put in your username and your password. Now, most people would have applied years ago, so they may not remember their username and password. So there's a button that's called Help/Support. You click on that button. It will then take you to another link. You input your email address, and the ministry's personnel will be in contact with you to give you that information. Now, if you are one of the fortunate few that remembers your username and password, once you input that information, you will actually see a screen that has all the data that you would have applied for. Because persons could apply either for an agency house, mortgage, rental, there's grants that the ministry would have. So all that information will be there. And what the customers can now do is go on the user information, the edit, and update their salary, their address, their phone number, the areas that they may have applied for historically. Someone may have wanted San Fernando, but now they got married. They may want to live in the East. So you could change all those information on that portal, basically.
And I really like the opportunity, Mr. Campbell, to be able to go back and compare and contrast. So you said, and I like the term that you use, one of those fortunate few that would have remembered their application information, the number and stuff. What happened before this portal with individuals who wanted to check up on the status, wanted to see whether or not that house coming, but didn't remember their pertinent information? What did they need to do?
Well, historically, customers needed to come to the HDC. They needed to visit either Port of Spain or San Fernando, in some instances, Maloney as well. And it was a tedious process for some persons to get time off to come and find out where the application process is. They would have had to come and sit in the lobby, speak to allocations officer to update their salary, their income, all those things. So it was a bit more manual, a bit more tedious for persons. But this now allows you to do that at your fingertips. If you get a job tomorrow, you can actually go online and update your application. And this is the key. Most persons that apply for an HDC home, once they fill out that form, they never came back. They never went to update any information. So a lot of the data that we have on the platform is old data, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And that's why a lot of persons may not have gotten selected, because the salary that they would have used back then may not have qualified them for the unit. Also, the areas that they may have applied for back then may not be where we currently have units. So that's why that's the biggest contrast between before and now.
All right, and we continue the conversation on the other side of the break. We are speaking with Jeremy Campbell, Divisional Manager Corporate Services at the HDC, about the online housing application fulfillment system, or HAFS. We return with more. Stay with us.
Journey on your way to home ownership. Have you applied for housing? Do you need to update your personal information? Need to add a co-applicant? Want to check on the status of your application? Do you need to know if you qualify for a mortgage? Want to calculate your mortgage payment? There's no need to call or come into our offices to check on your application. With HDC's updated portal, housing has been made easier. It's now effortless to securely access your housing application reference number, change your password, update your personal information, find out if you qualify for a mortgage, calculate your mortgage payment, and stay updated on the status of your home, all online. It's fast and simple. Log on to hdc.gov.tt. Follow your entire housing application process online from start to finish. It's housing made easier. With HDC's updated portal, housing has been made easier. To securely access your housing application reference number, log in to the hdc.gov.tt. Then click Sign In, enter your username and password. Look under My Application and you will find your reference number. To change your password, click on the User Registration tab, then click Reset Password, enter your new password twice as shown, then enter your password hint, then click Submit. To update your personal information, click on the User Registration tab, and there you will find the Personal Information page. Make your necessary changes, then click Save. To calculate your mortgage payment, on the home page, click on Mortgage Calculator, enter the required information, and click Calculate. It's fast and simple. It's housing made easier.
Welcome back. We are going in depth on how housing is being made easier with Jeremy Campbell, Divisional Manager Corporate Services at the Housing Development Corporation, speaking specifically about the online housing application fulfillment system. And a point was raised there, Mr. Campbell, in terms of from start to finish. And so far we've been talking about individuals who have started the process. They started it manually. But is it the same in terms of if you need to do that from jump, we're now making the application, can everything be done online?
So that's actually where we are transitioning to. So persons can download a form online, fill out the form, and then send it into the ministry. And the ministry's database personnel, they would then create that reference number and email it to the customer. So the goal really is to transition away from customers coming to the HDC waiting long to get information, which we have listened to what the customers have been saying, and that's why this portal has been put in place.
And that's one of the reasons I ask her, because this comment was not about the HDC, or I don't know where the comment was about, but someone was talking about there was a form that they had to download. So they were able to download the form and fill it in, but then they realized they needed to go into the office to deposit it. But you're saying that this with the HDC you can email it. I mean, and because the person actually said that when they downloaded, they realized that the form was outdated as well, but they only found that when they got into the office. So we're glad that these things are taking place at the HDC, taking us forward into the future, listening to what people are saying. But are there timelines that you all are working towards, or are you all just doing the groundwork and saying, okay, well, we'll talk about the time in just a bit?
No, so we have certain timelines internally that we want to hit. There are other projects and other roll-offs so that the public and the media would be a part of in the next few coming weeks and months. But the main goal of this platform is to launch us into the stratosphere with technology so that the customers realize HDC2 is moving forward. Now, we do understand there would be teething problems, obviously, to transition such a large database to an online platform. So that's why the help/support button is so important. Any issues that persons are experiencing, feel free to let us know. We have numerous emails that persons could contact us via. We have the HGC Facebook page. So any issues that persons are having, feel free to let us know. And it is a collaborative effect between the HGC and the ministry. But it is something that we are working towards. And there are certain timelines and certain milestones we are trying to hit. And by the end of the year, I think the public will be pleasantly surprised as to how easy it is to do business with the HGC.
I'm really glad that you're talking about that help button being able to, and does that help button also allow for someone to chat with somebody real time? Because uncle, tanty, people who say this computer thing, I don't like it, to be able to walk them through as they are doing it. Sometimes you go to a bank and you have someone come out helping the person put in their card and punching the things. So is that kind of service, is that kind of care being taken for individuals?
That care is actually being taken, and that's an excellent question. So we are partnering with a lot of these state agencies. So for example, there's WeChat, which is something that a lot of platforms, state agencies use. And it's something that we're actually going to have on launch on the agency website where someone can simply speak to someone while they're online. Obviously, we are not discouraging persons from coming into the agency. So if they still want that face-to-face connection, we are here. Most of us work around the clock. But that's not a problem for them to come in. But we really want persons to utilize the platform because it's easy and you can update information in real time as it happens.
Thank you so much for that. And improving the housing delivery, I want to talk a little bit more about that. I mean, there are a lot of people very eager to get an HDC house, and I think the data also shows that, saying that the HDC itself observed an increase in the number of requests from the public regarding retrieving passwords and these sorts of things. What does that say to you about confidence in the HDC? What does that say to you about the service being provided?
So it could say a lot of things. We are thankful that persons are reaching out to us and giving us feedback as to how their experience has been with the platform. We know there's both good and bad experiences, and like I said, there are teething problems that we are trying to sort out as time progresses. But we know that in the long run, the goal of the HGC is to make housing easier for persons. We know persons have that story that all of us as Trinidadians would have here. I applied 20 years ago, someone came after me and got rid of the house. So we are aware of all these things. And my job, my duty is to ensure that we bridge that gap, we make the information public so that the customers will understand, hey, this is the process. There's no shortcut in the process. We are making it easier so persons can't say, well, I can't take a day off to come and update my application. So the goal is really to build a holistic customer service platform, and we believe that this is just the first start.
What's the importance of being able to calculate a mortgage payment while you're doing all of this online? What's the impact of being able, the ability to do that?
So I like that question again. So the rule of thumb is that when you apply to the HDC, the salary that you really need, persons believe is a high salary. Now, if your salary is 14,000 and below, you qualify for the 2%. Most persons think that because they have a job, they could qualify for an agency house. But persons they have loans, they have credit cards, they're probably in a SUSU, various things that affect your debt service ratio. So that mortgage calculator allows the customer to actually play and say, okay, my salary is 8,000 now. I have a loan of 1,500. This is how much the system spits out. This is what you would qualify for. So you actually know in real time what you qualify for. And it actually says at the bottom, qualify or don't qualify. So you know in real time if you qualify for this house or if you don't. If you are saying that you're going to consider a job that's higher paying, you can put in the income and it will say, okay, this is what the rate would be, and these are the areas that you would qualify for as well. So it not only shows you what you qualify for, it shows you where you qualify for, and it tells you if you qualify, if you don't qualify.
Also, you're saying the areas as well in which there is HDC solutions, housing solutions.
Yep, it's there, yeah. And as time progresses, obviously, we have a mandate to build a certain amount of houses, obviously, over the next couple of years. So as time progresses, these new developments will be put on the platform, so persons will get in real time what they could really qualify for.
All right, and just before we go, I want you to speak to the person who's saying, well, why should I update? Because I think you spoke about in terms of like a salary changing from when the initial application to what it is you're able to afford now, and even to that mortgage calculator that we were just speaking about. So encourage the person looking at this to update, to jump onto this system, please, Mr. Campbell.
Right. What I would say to that customer is when you applied, circumstances may have changed. You may have been a single mother, a single guy, right? Now you may be married or you may have kids. Your salary may have been X, now it's Y. The purpose of this platform is to allow you to update your information. For example, when you get randomly selected, which is the main way, obviously, to be allocated a house, it's random selection. The 25% is via the ministerial, 10% via general protective, 5% via elderly and disabled. All these cabinet approved qualifications is based on what you qualify for. And we can only know what you qualify for if we have real information. And the other thing is, we may be building houses, for example, in San Fernando, because at the point in time, that's where the database showed houses are necessary. If the persons update, it allows us as an internal mechanism to plan where we should build houses. So that's why it's so important for persons to tell us where they want to apply, what their income is, what their preference of unit type is, if it's townhouses, apartments, single family units. Inputting that information allows the agency to make more informed decisions moving forward and being strategic in how we build houses.
And I want to thank you so much, Mr. Campbell, Jeremy Campbell, Divisional Manager Corporate Services at the HDC, talking about the online housing application fulfillment system. So do your part so the HDC can do theirs as well. And on behalf of the entire news team, I'm Dike Rostant. Thank you so much for joining us.